Good morning, Israel. You tuned in to my scripture-oriented channel. And today what I want to cover is Bible sales. Since I got criticized because I started telling the truth and I started selling Bibles, and the fellow didn't know what to make of the video, and I sent it out of the blue, and he wasn't too happy about it. So I think I need to tell you a little bit about myself. I got a story for you. I like telling this story. I'm not really good at storytelling, I don't think, anyway. Man, I got one friend who's so good at it. I'm gonna have to ask them to give me lessons. Why not? I ought to learn something today. Anyway, I was at a friend's house, and he buys a side of beef for his family every year, along with I guess he pays for a hog to get that butchered as well. And he's living on the cheap as best he can, and he does a good job of that. I mean, if I had a family and a stationary home, in the freezer room, or I'd get an extra freezer probably. That's what my family did. My parents did. We had a lot of fish in particular in there, and other stuff. I'd buy it. I think my family might have bought a side of beef one time and had it butchered up. But he did that every year, and he bragged about his steaks, and he cooked me up one. Oh my Lord. I got to tell you, that was one of the best steaks that I ever had, cooked about one of the best. It really was. It was so good. I mean, he bragged about it, and man, it lived up to his bravado, that's for sure. Well, I visited another time up there. He's in a little town that used to service railroad cars, and it's been obliterated. I do think that'll come back someday, by the way. That facility really is going to be needed. I hope they have quite a bit of it intact. That'd be a nice boon for that area as far as economy goes. But anyway, I went there, and I'd be darned. I mean, he'd been working, we'd been busy, we'd been doing stuff all day long. I can't remember what. He is in the ammo business, and he does custom gun work as well. He does good work. He's pretty smart. He actually takes the time to explain things to me without realizing that my dumb ass isn't getting it. I just don't think as clearly as I once used to. And as you know, you've been with me for a little while. I had a couple of strokes in 2006, and have not, didn't do very well for quite a while after that. And my short-term working memory in particular got hit really hard, which made it impossible for me to work as a psychologist. By the way, the board actually contributed to my demise. They put undue stress upon me. They're a very evil, nasty bunch. I will tell you right now, I usually say in joke, stay away from me and my kind, but stay away from the psychologists. They don't know shit, and they don't practice very well, and they're almost all liberals, and they are almost all out there to destroy they're out there to destroy the foundations of this nation. I'm sorry to say it, but it has become an evil group. And when you look at the symbol for psychology, it's the Greek letter psi. Looks like a trident, looks like a pitchfork. And we get to manage the plantation for the masters on the planet. We're running experiments in the background all the time, with several things being analyzed at one time, and where we're finding the program and what we're going to mainstream and do to you all the time. And we push you in one direction to one extreme, we push you in the other direction to the other extreme, to slowly weaken your mind, to break the temper of the steel of your mind, They push it in one direction, then in the other direction, back and forth. And just like a piece of steel, eventually it loses its temper and it breaks. They get what you want out of you. They also came up with learned helplessness. The father of learned helplessness is trying to pass himself off as the father of positive psychology. He's still around today. He's associated with Pennsylvania. He's a jackass. He took a lot of his experiments underground, is my suspicion, because they use that shit against the rest of you. They use learned helplessness to create a population that's unable to move, that's paralyzed, to hold you captive so they can do whatever they want to you. That's what they do with their mainstream media. Anyway, here I am. I go to my buddy's house, and it's in the evening, and we sit down, and he puts down the plate in front of me. And it's a simple meal, and he's putting together real fast. And I appreciate it. I mean, he's making me a meal. And there was the biggest, nicest piece of ham I'd ever seen. Took up most of the plate, and some lima beans on the side. And I looked at it. And he's sitting at the table. He worked to get this meal together. He's been working all day long. And I can't remember what his wife was doing, but his kids were at the table. And he sees that I'm hesitating. And he says, "Don't tell me you've gone Muslim on us." I was speechless. I couldn't say a word. I was paralyzed. And what paralyzed me is that, I do what the Bible says, and it says not to even touch pork, much less eat it. And I wasn't going to eat it. And my buddy, I was speechless because he was Jewish and he should have known better. He should have. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's not that funny, but I think it's kind of funny. Here's this guy serving me this wonderful piece of ham, and he's a Jew, and he's doing that, and I'm like, good God, come on, man! I was speechless. I couldn't say a word to him. I couldn't. I was tongue-tied. I ate the lima beans, and I think he was very disappointed that I would turn down his prized ham. No, I didn't turn Muslim on you. What happened to you? What did you turn on us? Anyway, I want to tell you about my Bible, and I want to tell you why it's so important. It's important because it represents a major breakthrough in the Bible. So we have got a better word of the Lord. Lorraine, quiet. She's staying in there. She's been a bad girl, and we're getting a handle on things, but she's just not she's not getting the privileges that she once got. We got to give them to her slowly. And I got to get a hold of myself because she's really hurt me and disappointed me, and I don't want to. Well, anyway, how do you like my hat? Do pay attention to that. My relative gave it to me if I was going to wear it, and I do wear it. And people assume that I'm diehard Trump all the way. Well, I will say this, he was our choice. He's still our choice. We ought to shove it down their throats for a change. I'm getting tired of what they're shoving down our throats. How about you? Look, it's pretty bad down there. Why do you want to buy my Bible? Well, if you want to support me in my show, this is what I ask for. I don't ask for donations. I haven't set up any of that stuff. I had somebody that sent a gift along, but I really want to sell the Bible. I ask you, I beg you, please give me a chance to earn my keep. I have a product, 5 different formats of this new Bible in modern English, which beats the pants off the other previous versions. It is the proper name version of the King James Bible, PNVKJB. You need to understand the proper name of our Lord. You need to understand the proper name of His visitation or his son. I don't know how you want to view it. Either way is actually a valid perspective and is supported in the Bible. You can consider him Yahweh in the flesh, or you consider him his son. It's in the Bible. It's supported both ways. I used to argue and say, no, it's not the son. It's Yahweh himself. Well, go read the Bible. You will find out that it really is both. And I don't know how it happens like that, but that's the great mystery. I accept. There's some things beyond my pay grade, and that certainly is one. I need to sell Bibles, and if anybody out there wants to get some sort of a prison ministry going, these are the Bibles to get out there. The inmates will enjoy this Bible so much. You will actually get a better response and a better outcome when you use this proper name version of the King James Bible than with any other version. We do the whole thing. It's not just a New Testament. It's the whole thing, and we have recovered the proper name of Yahweh that Ptolemy II removed from the Bible back in 275 BC when he was producing the Septuagint in Alexandria. We do not know if Ptolemy II was a good guy or a bad guy. We're debating that. I'm leaning towards the bad guy. I think the publisher, those folks are leaning towards a good guy. I've been asking my brothers and sisters about that. Yes, there are some female Bible readers who are really good, and I don't think anything can enlighten a man further than having a woman's perspective and then making the decision himself. I don't even know if we can actually be friends. So one of my buddies in college told me a long time ago, and I haven't thought about this in a long time, he says he regards us as different species. Well, he was a little light in the edges, so to speak. I need you to read these Bibles. Spend time in Genesis and sort that out. I will explain it here as best I can, and I won't have it all right. So you need to read it for yourself. And if you've got questions, I've got answers. So you've got issues with the Bible, that's a personal problem. I'd be glad to help you resolve that. If I can't answer it, I will field the question among a group of older brothers and their wives, sisters who understand the Bible better, who have been reading it longer than I. I've only been reading it for about 15 years. As a matter of fact, I don't consider myself as educated until I read the Bible. It is the foundation of Western civilization, which is all of Western civilization is under attack today. And it's been foretold in so many different ways it's not funny. If you're looking for other resources, you can go to my blog, givingpsychologyaway.com. There you will find some PDF files you can download freely. I'd prefer you did that. And there's a couple of old blogs. Some of my old shows are archived up there. I don't revisit that stuff. Seems like it's ancient history. Seems like I was a different man then. I think I did a better job on the radio back then than I do today. Certainly, I started to get a little bit of public recognition to the end, but I couldn't afford to stay on the radio, and I got in a really bad car accident, which made it impossible for me to keep it up. I had to finish out my contract. I honored that. I got it done, and I had to bow out. And since then, the station, the rates have tripled, and I couldn't afford to stay on at the old price very well. So, and I don't have enough coming in to do what I want here, so not even covering the expenses yet. There's an old Jewish tradition, and that is that if you really want to help somebody, you give them the opportunity to work. And I ask you for that opportunity to work. I will ask you to like the videos. I guess not a video goes by without somebody saying, do like it. So please hit that thing if you wouldn't mind doing that right now. And then subscribe if you like. And remember, there is another channel, another station, and it's Dr. John Taylor Kent, and that's the Dr. Kent Show, where we focus on primarily on psychology. The show that I busted out this morning is answered questions about who the Nazis are in Washington, D.C., who the Nazis are, period. It's a big question. You need to understand that this stuff started with what was in the Bible, and it actually started before that, but that's pre-biblical, so we won't get into that here. We want to focus on what is supported by Scripture. This is the fight between good and evil. You need to understand that there's some really evil people in Washington, D.C., and they are not sane. They are not rational. They are sociopaths. They're sociopathic. They are not out of touch with reality. They understand it better than you or I do. They understand the social contracts better than you or I do. And they play the game. By the way, I'm convinced, and some of my older brothers are convinced as well, that they read the Bible too. And they may know it better than we do. And they use it. So you need to get yourself schooled in what's in the Bible so that you can defend yourself. What did Yahshua, that's the name of your Jesus Christ, by the way. Yahshua the Messiah gave us 2 commands, and it's in there at least twice. They are, number 1, do not be deceived. That's all we live in today. We're in the age of deception. And what was the second command? Hold your ground. Stand your ground. And so that's what we're ordered to do. And that's what we need to be doing. You can't do that without a good, strong footing, without a good, strong foundation, without a strong constitution, without some integrity. You need that. You need the health. You need a good constitution. And you need the United States Constitution, which I used to regard as one of the sacred documents, to be honest with you, because it certainly was a blessing. And we will never agree upon these changes to make to government. So I think that we ought to agree on this: a return to the original structure the founders gave us and intended. It's going to be a hard one. You'll say, oh, it's impossible. Well, we're not going to have any choice, because in short order, we're going to go to much worse fighting among each other. Right now, the enemy is trying to get us to go to violence. The left is trying to incite violence. And there's enough people on the other side as well that are willing to give it to them. I say that Yahweh blesses self-defense. He does not bless rebellion. You are given this president, and you're given your governors for a reason, because you've been a jackass and you deserve it. You have it all coming to you. As a matter of fact, what they're trying to do right now is get this nation nuked, and you deserve it, because this place is Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0, and in many ways it's much worse. So, and it says in the Bible that we're going to be nuked. Well, I think the Bible contains different futures, by the way. And I think there's a lot in there, and we have a long ways to go. I really do believe that. But I know a lot of you think that Yahshua, Jesus, just returns once. I think there are several returns. It's written in there. You'll read about, in the end of latter times you shall understand it. In the end times, you're also going to read about the day of the Lord. And there are different days of the Lord. I don't see how all of that stuff can happen in one day. I guess it's possible. But I think those are separate events that will occur across time. That's a common sense look at it. And I think the most important thing about the Bible is to realize it's a book of history. A buddy of mine who was a teacher, who has some rather strident views and does some real incredible research. he says that it's a history book of the law. And that's a better way to regard it. So I say read it, learn the names of the characters, learn the plot. Okay? Just go at it that way. And read it. Read it for your entertainment. Read it for your edification. You find a passage that's kind of tedious, I mean, like a boring genealogy or something, maybe glance at it or just skip over it entirely. There's plenty of other Bible to be read. So and you'll find out later that those passages have more meaning later on. They help you sort things out even further. And you're never going to stop learning from reading the Bible. I take 1.5 years to read it typically. A lot of people try to read through it in a year. Well, I'm slow. I take time. I'm a little retarded. Just let that be our secret. Okay. I do want to sell Bibles. I want you to buy my Bibles. I want everybody to know about these Bibles. I think it's important. Why? Because if you're going to be a good Christian, and I don't really like the term Christian that much, but we can argue about that another time. But if you're going to be a good Christian, then you need to abide by the 10 Commandments. And the first one is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Okay. What does that mean? Well, what does it mean you do? It means that you know his name. It means that you have to know his name. If you don't know his name, how do you know you got the right God? Remember, there's Moloch, there's Baal, there's Dagon, there's a few other gods in the Bible. So which one is it that the word God refers to? That's where your proper name version comes in really handy. Not only do you get to learn the name, you get to sort out who they're really referring to. Because sometimes the Lord they're referring to, just another powerhouse figure, could be an evil God at that. There's some pretty wicked stuff in the Bible. It's in there. You want drama, it's in there. You want family squabbles and dynamics, that's basically what the story is about. Okay? We started off with 2 boys. One murdered the other. Talk about a dysfunctional family. And in case you're wondering, that's pretty much where this fight that we're in today comes from. All of our founding fathers were educated in the Bible. All of them. They knew their Bibles. They read their Bibles. They understood who they were. We don't know who we are today, but the enemy knows who you are. The enemy knows who we are, and they know who they are. They have the upper hand, and you're not going to discover it unless you're a Bible reader. Another reason you want to read the Bible is so that you can do the right thing, so that you can do the will of God, abiding by the 10 Commandments, abiding by the ordinances, and all that stuff. And I know that there's some things in there that don't seem to make sense today. I understand that. I acknowledge it. But you need to get the core stuff, and we need to be able to agree upon things like the 10 Commandments. Those are natural law. There's more depth to those commandments than what you think as well. So they have multiple meanings, and they're very good things. It's actually a blessing to us. That is a gift to us so that we may live well. In order to do God's will, you have to understand it. And I believe that when you read the Bible, you're accessing the mind of Yahweh, of Creator Father. And I think that's important. I think it'll get your head straight. I think it'll keep you sane. It'll anchor you in a reality that's much healthier and better than what's happening at the world at large. Just look out there right now. Look at the level of insanity. It's going to increase. I assure you it's going to increase, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to be going insane. And it's going to get worse. Women will become more merciless. Those are the 2 traits that were given to me by Siri Singh Sahib, who was known as Yogi Bhajan, and Sikh Dharma, 3HO. He said that we would see increasing insanity, and that women would become merciless, absolutely merciless. Don't believe me? Go back to some of my other videos in which I tell you about the rat lab experiments, and the one fellow who replicated it 25 times and came up with the same ending every time, and it was terminal. And you ladies out there who think, well, we got the upper hand, we're going to keep going with this, you need to read that, because the death rate for women goes way the hell up. According to the models, according to the research and the studies, and I know that modern psychologists are doing their best to downplay that, because they don't want you to realize that that's what's going on. That's what's being set up with these smart cities and all that other stuff. That's set up to absolutely destroy us. They went after the family to take down America. America's been gone for a long time. We don't live in America. We live in the United States Corporation, one of the four. Our founders never allowed corporations, and they never would have allowed corporations. And if they came back right now, I'm not so sure if they go after the bad guys or after us for being dumbasses and not keeping the republic. I don't know who. I think they'd be more distraught over us and our failures than over the bad guys. I think that the betrayal would weigh much more heavily as an injury to them than what the other party has done, because that's their nature. So you need to learn your nature. One of those is that we are not designed to be out of relationship with Creator Father God, Yahweh. We're not designed to do this alone. We're designed to do His will. And that's what Yahshua, who came to the earth, preached in particular. That's the example He gave. He didn't do anything outside of His Father's will. He sought to align Himself with His Father's will all the time. And that's what He wants for you and I, because we have separate paths. You have to work out your salvation. I know you're going to say, oh no, it's by grace. Well, I'm one of those who's on the other side. I say it's earned. The doing is what gets you there. When you do the right thing, you actually get the rewards pretty much immediately. They pulled out the concept of instant karma in the Bible. Retributive justice, instant retribution. Those were biblical concepts until the Emperor Constantine, who was not a good guy, who was an Edomite, was a bad guy, and he altered the Bible up, and he had a lot of things taken out of it because his wife was from the streets, and she was from the streets, really, and her favorite pastime was to entertain guests in the dungeon. Well, we have had all kinds of pitfalls put in our way, and we've had a lot of people make major sacrifices to bring us the scriptures. The Roman Catholic Church never wanted us to have it, and they've done everything they can to torpedo the efforts, including giving us some of the wrong texts for the public and keeping back some of the proper ones, the really in-depth ones, for themselves. The Bible is a library in one cover. I think I pretty much covered it. As far as the truth goes, I guess I pepper things in here. I hope I'm giving you enough that you come back. I hope you'll like my videos. Hope you'll subscribe. Hope you'll share these on social media. I hope you will take it to heart and sit down and read the Bible for yourself. I'm not advocating going to church. That's organized religion, and that is one of the three toads that came out of the demon's mouth along with education. And the other one was government. Things happen in threes, and they happen in pairs too. There's a lot of parallel construction in the Bible. So you have to read it enough to understand different groups of twins in particular, different brothers, different pairings, if you will. I think that the one thing I got when I started with the NIV Study Bible that I have, that it said to me continually, love, truth, and justice. Right there in black and white in the Bible. Love, truth, and justice. Never said love, justice, and truth. It was always truth and justice. You cannot administer justice without knowing the truth. And I think that's one of the great commands that you and I don't talk about very much. So we are commanded to love truth and justice. That's why I adhere to his name. That's also why I tell you truthfully about the day of his birth and the stuff that's been tossed at us. Okay? There's been a lot of deception going on. Yogi Bhajan was right when he said we live in the age of deception. He was very much right about that. I believe that the bad guys have survived several Earth ages, that they landed on the planet, crashed, or were driven here about 6 Earth ages ago, and they've been ruling the roost since then, that they have taken over this place. And so when I tell you there's no such thing as a new world order, I really truly believe that. I believe the world order, as Eustace Mullins wrote about it, were these interlocking corporate boards where they're all owned centrally and controlled centrally. Talk about the beast system and it being real big. There's only one corporation. Everything is incorporated under that. So, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for hanging out with me this long. I don't have anything profound to tell you. I apologize for disappointing you. I'll do my best to get some scriptures out this next time. Well, heck, what the heck? Let's pick it up right now. It's kind of like playing Bible bingo or the lottery. Psalms. Never liked this book very much. It was just so long, seemed boring to me. There's some incredible stuff hidden in this book. And wine that makes glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengthens man's heart. The trees of Yahweh are full of sap, the cedars of Lebanon which he has planted, where the birds make their nests. As for the stork, the fir trees are her house. The high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the conies. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows his going down. You make darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. The young lions roar after their prayer, and seek their meat from God. The sun rises. They gather themselves together and lay them down in their dens. Man goes forth to his work and to his labor until the evening. O Yahweh, how manifold are your works! In wisdom have you made them all. The earth is full of your riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein all things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is the Leviathan, whom you have made to play therein. These wait upon you, that you may give them their meat in due season. That you give them, they gather. You open your hand, they are filled with good. Psalms 104. I'll elaborate upon the Leviathan and what that's revealed to me in the near future. But it is a real thing, and it has another meaning which is pretty incredible. You need to understand that by reading this book, it'll open you up in ways of understanding that you will not get any other way. I really love this book. When I'm in times of trouble, I read it endlessly. I just get on it and I read it like I'm doing a marathon. So I've spent half a day or a full day reading it. And I push my way through it sometimes, go through rather quickly. Other times I sit there and I take things apart. It's better to go through quickly. You get a better picture and you will find a part of the Bible that explains the other part you just read. The Bible interprets itself. You do not need study notes. You do not need to go to church and be told about it. You need to read it yourself. It was the primer for the American Revolution, which was a war of self-defense. It was not an act of rebellion. The king attacked us. He attacked us after he set us free, neglected us for 4 years. When he saw that we were actually prospering, he decided he wanted us back, and he launched this war against us. And at that point, we defended ourselves. And that's where we are today. You're given these rotten leaders in D.C. for a reason. It's what you deserve. It's what we deserve. It's what we have coming. You want to change it? Then change yourself. Read the Bible. Spend your time in the Bible. Apply the biblical principles to your life. Learn from it. It'll tell you what money is in the Bible. Money is gold, silver, of a particular purity, and a particular weight. It's tangible. That's money in the Bible. In our Constitution, it will tell you what money is. Real constitutional money, currency. And what do we have today? More deception. More fraud. The electorate has not been in control of this nation since the election of Woodrow Wilson. Not just 2 or 3 elections ago. It's been a lot longer than that. May Yahweh bless America. I hope I gave you something to run with here. Good day.